Happy Tuesday. Okay, so I'm just going to get right into it. I wanted to pop by because I have not spilled the tea on our local real estate market for a few months now. I have not given you a market update as much as I normally would, just because demand has been crazy, but we're going to get into that today. So here's the facts so that you are aware what is happening and what is going on in your local market, which is the Sioux Empire. That is the market we are discussing today. So the homes that sold the quickest, obviously, over the last 30 days. Now, I'm not just going over August. I'm giving you the information for the last 30 days, okay? So over the last 30 days, the quickest selling properties were priced between $150,000 to $200,000, okay? That's normally our quickest moving price range, so there's no big surprises there. Now, the median sale price was $248,000, and I believe the on average estimate of days was around 73 days on market before closing. So, like we have discussed before, 73 days means that they probably, received and accepted an offer within that first, 3 to 7 days so that they did their due diligence periods. And we have, I should say, seen a lengthier days on market just because when a seller is listing their home, sometimes it might take them just a pinch longer to find the perfect next home. And so we have been kind of maxing out those days on markets because buyers are being more flexible right now and they're allowing the seller to have more time to find their next home or get everything settled, okay? So that is some of the background on why we're seeing that. That doesn't mean that these aren't great houses because you're seeing the signs in the yard longer. This just means that the buyer is allowing or the seller has negotiated that they can live in the house and not close until a specific date, because they're still in the process of either building new construction or they haven't found their next dream home. So in the last 30 days, we actually had 629 new homes come on the market. So here are some things that I want to point out about this. That still is a good chunk of inventory, okay? I know that everyone is probably freaking out, especially if you've wanted to sell over the last 3 to 6 months. Freaking out that if you list your house, you will not find a new one. And the chance of that happening is very, very slim, okay? As long as you are focused and you are looking at the properties that best fit you, you should have no problem in finding a new home. Sorry about the ding. So that is usually our top concern that we are combating because we're seeing a lot of realtors out there and their main focus right now is obviously to attract more listings into their business model, okay? And so with that, since we have seen a little bit of a dip in inventory the last year due to extenuating circumstances that we're all aware of, we're not going to get into that. A lot of realtors have taken the approach that they're going to focus on that low inventory. And basically what that has done is it has intimidated buyers. And it has intimidated sellers to making that next move because they're afraid there isn't going to be the inventory there when they're ready to make that move or start that process. And you know what? The funny thing that I was thinking about this last night, I couldn't sleep because I have these things pop into my head, of course. And, I can't come tell you at that exact moment. But one thing I was thinking about is the fact that people are getting so scared about this low inventory, but it's very normal, especially for a fall period, for us to have a decline in that housing inventory. That's absolutely normal. And I really hate the fact that buyers were scared this last year and people were put in the predicament of, having to rush, maybe not get the full due diligence period that they really wanted, or they weren't even able to enjoy the process because of how things were marketed and how things were talked about. So here's one thing that I want to tell you. I have been doing this for 9 years. So one thing that I want you to take away from this, if you take away nothing else, please know that when you are meant to sell or buy, that time will come for you, okay? Everything will work out the way that it is meant to. So that fear that people have had that has kind of caused this commotion of offering outrageous price points and, you know, the fear of selling because you're not going to be able to find a new home and all of that. We need to just put that on the wayside a little bit. You know, one funny fact that I was going to tell you, this is what kept me up last night, is people always think that real estate dies in the winter. They always think that, you know, they can't list in the winter, they can't sell it, you know, they can't buy in the winter because people don't do that, right? They think that we literally just lock ourselves in our basements or our living rooms and we just sit there until spring arises and flowers start blooming, etc. And that's just not the case. Hey, Maggie. Nice to see you too. I hope you're having a good week. I love your little baby bump updates. Love it. So, the funniest thing for me about this whole time period has honestly been the fact that even though inventory was a pinch lower last year, people were able to see how frequently homes sell in the winter because there was more of a focus on it, if you will, okay? More people were talking about it. And so this is the funniest thing in the world to me because we hear this so much in my profession as real estate dies in the winter, nothing's happening, there's no houses, there's, you know, it's stale. Well, winter is actually one of the best times and the fall to find your next home as well as sell your home. You're going to have more serious buyers. Who doesn't want that? Hi, Linda. How are you? Good to see you. So selling in the fall and winter is always fun. I mean, it's such a renewal period anyway because we have everything transitioning. We have everything changing. The trees are changing color. I mean, it's just a beautiful kind of romantic time of the year. So why there really isn't a better time to make that change, okay? And so these are some things that I want you to focus on is number one, if it's meant for you, it will find you. It will all line up perfectly. There's no reason to add added stress to the situation, okay? So if you've been on the fence for 6 months or 8 months or a year and you're worried about what is happening with this low demand or this low inventory, you just need to just take a deep breath. And if this time period is meant for you, it will all happen, okay? So now we all know that people move in the winter and it's fabulous because normally homes are priced very competitively. You have more serious buyers going through your home. And I mean, the real downside is if it snows, because let's face it, we live in South Dakota. So like one day it's winter, one day it's summer. It's a mess. So all is well. Now let's talk about the average list price. Now the average list price was around $289,562. So last year, I believe these numbers were around 259,000, somewhere in there, 2055, 2059, or 259, my apologies. So we are seeing a little bit of an increase there. Obviously, when inventory is a little bit lower, things sell for more because there's more of a demand. That's the same as if you're buying bananas and the grocery store only has 20 barrels of bananas. The price might be a little bit higher because they know that the demand is probably going to be, you know, a quick rush of people needing their bananas for the week or the month. And they want to get them sold. So that brings us to the average sold price. Now, the average sold price was around $292,334. So you do see from those numbers that there was a slight increase that people were offering above ask for these properties. Now, these are just averages, obviously. This is one fact that I normally do not relay to you guys that I think is really imperative because it's a fun fact. And I guess I'm obsessed with real estate, so I think it's a fun fact. So for me, I took a look at which areas in Sioux Falls, and I didn't look at these surrounding areas. I will tell you, obviously, there were sales in Harrisburg and Hartford and Del Rapids and all that, but my focus was on Sioux Falls, okay? So the zip codes that sold the most, okay, was the 57104 and 103. So we're looking at east side of Sioux Falls, okay? And then obviously, this is always a top contender is Southwest Sioux Falls. It's just a very sought out area. These are people that are buying their first homes, sometimes downsizing, you know, those types of situations. So Southwest Sioux Falls with the zip code 57106. So very exciting. You can kind of see that. The increases that we really saw, though, were in 57110 and 57108. So some top contenders there, I would say. But just some fun facts that I really dove into and I loved. So how's you guys' week going? I hope it's going great. So I felt like an old lady this week because I stopped at the grocery store in Brandon, Sunshine. That's our local grocery store, and my family always tries to shop local as much as we possibly can. And there was this little teenager that checked me out, my items out, I should say. And I had just ordered some new dresses, and he complimented me on my dress and my earrings, and I just thought, oh, I feel like an old lady. Like, he's obviously trying to make me feel great and get out of the store. But what a nice young man. We just do not see this good, well-rounded customer service anymore. And so when I see it, I just am amazed and excited. And I mean, it's just absolutely amazing, especially when you can shop local and have excellent customer service. That is key. That is what I look for most. I'm not really a cost gal, so if I, hear people saying, well, we can't go there because it's so expensive, or etc., I look more for where the customer service is fitting and that the business is fitting my needs more to say. But that's my update, folks. I hope it has served you well. It's been some fun facts. Very interesting seeing the dynamics that have played out even the last quarter, I think. We know that I've been seeing a lot of posts from different agencies where people are saying that they do feel like the fall is going to be extremely busy. Now, I personally wouldn't compare that to last fall because I think we're looking at a very different time frame and a very different mindset, because I can tell you right now, buyers are, they're exhausted, okay? They're exhausted over the competition. They're exhausted over the demands placed on them. And I think that we might see a little bit of a lull. That's my personal belief. Now, I pray that doesn't happen, but I think that we might see a little bit of a lull. And as we start to approach the holiday season, we always see a bit of a decline. So I'm curious to see, how the next quarter that ends the year out is going to play out. But overall, I think it's been a great year. I know there have been several buyers that have been stressed out. I'm working with a large group of buyers right now, and I know the demand is heavy. And the more positive you stay, the better. But I do think things are going to turn around as we see things kind of level out a little bit as we have the last 2 months. I think it's going to be a lot smoother of a ride, and buyers are going to be able to relax a little bit and not be on edge when they're looking at properties, okay? Because I always tell you guys, buying a home or selling a home should be a good experience, okay? You shouldn't be stressed to your max. It shouldn't be packed with surprises. Everything should be kind of in a step-by-step process that's easy to digest and understand, and it has a good outcome that best meets your goals. So that's my rant of the day. So I hope you guys really appreciated those numbers. If there's any other facts maybe I didn't give you guys and you really wanted to know some more information about different areas or different price points and how they, survived the market this last 30 days or what impacted them the most, just go ahead and let me know. One thing I do want to let you guys know is we're hearing a lot of kind of misinformation out there as it relates to people saying, you just list your house, it's going to sell, right? Just get it on the market. You don't have to do anything. And I can personally tell you some of the photos I'm even seeing of professionally listed houses on the MLS. I've seen a little bit of a decline the last 60 days for sure. And this is basically, the FOMO mentality, I like to say, because people have a fear of missing out on the sale. And maybe that agent isn't doing that due diligence. But I mean, if you even look at what's for sale right now, you'll see some photos that are just kind of alarming, even on homes that are listed at $1 million and more. They're just terrible, terrible pictures. I mean, I can't imagine that marketing material hitting the right buyer and them saying, wow, I'd love to come see this, house filled with clutter with the toilet seats up and just dingy pictures and filth, and I just can't imagine it. So please take note of that. Just know that if you are contemplating selling your home, it's best to follow normal procedure because it's your time to shine. Your home is going on a first date. You got to look your best, all of that. So you need to keep that in mind, because those homes that are listed improperly like that do not have that professional quality touch that majority of the realtors in our area, uphold themselves to, they're standing out like a sore thumb, and buyers are really paying attention. And then those homes are suffering and those sellers are suffering because the properties are sitting for 90 days and then going expired because no one wanted to go look at this house or that house because of the quality of those pictures. So keep that in mind. Even though inventory is a pinch lower, you still have to put your best foot forward. Just treat it like a first date. You want everything to be prim, proper, wide open spaces, clean, organized. I mean, it really is like a first date, and there's no better comparison that I have ever found because it rings true. I've seen it over and over. So remember that even though it's still a seller's market, the seller has to take note that buyers are still looking for quality. And if these needs aren't met from the first glance that they see on the internet, and I can tell you 96% of buyers start their home search online. So that marketing does matter. So don't just let some agent or yourself just willy-nilly list your house with, improper marketing materials. Just put your best foot forward. That's going to give you the best outcome. The best outcome. So if no one has any questions, we will wrap this up. But should a question arise the next week, etc., don't be afraid to reach out to me or drop a comment. I'm always happy to come back and answer questions that maybe I didn't think to answer at the time. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I know you will. And I think fall is upon us, guys. After today's temperatures, I am assuming it is. So have a happy week, and I will talk to you guys soon.